Hey Bob, how you doing? Uh, I've never done a sharpening video, so I hope this one works out for you. I don't have very good camera equipment, so I hope you can see what I'm trying to show you. Yeah, anyway, um, I've got this old chef knife, bit of a beater. Hasn't been sharpened ever, as far as I'm aware, and the edge is absolutely gone. You're not going to cut anything with that. So yeah, this one will be perfect to try and show you what I'm going to do. I've got my Atoma 140 here. That's what you said you had working with. So I'll use the same thing. This is the only stone I'm going to use today. And yeah, let's get a new bevel and a new edge on this. So just a quick spray with a bit of water. Now, when it comes to picking an angle, I don't really look at it that much. I just do what feels comfortable after having sharpened a few knives. What I've generally calculated is if you want between about 15 and 20 degrees, which is pretty typical for most sorts of knives, 15 more of your kitchen knives and 20 more for your outdoors knives. You want basically the distance from the spine of the knife down to your stone should be between 1/3 and 1/4 of the width of your knife, the thickness of your knife. So I guess this knife is about 2.5, 3 fingers wide. So I would expect sort of maybe 3/4 of a finger width down there. That's what I'm going to work with. Like I said, I don't really pay too much heed to it. I just do what feels comfortable. That's about it really. With diamond stones, you're going to hear me pushing a little bit. I'm probably putting maybe a few ounces of weight onto it. You don't want to push too hard with diamond stones because it can actually cause the diamonds to pop out. The soft metal, so particularly with the softer metals, it can actually dig under the stone, the diamonds in the stone, and rip them out. So even though the diamonds are much harder than the steel is still pulling them out. So you don't want to push too hard. Pretty much let the diamonds do the work. Just putting, like I said, just a few ounces of pressure, just to keep it digging. Other than that, yeah, I'll just go with this. I always do a back and forth motion. I generally start from the heel, and then as I'm working up the edge, my fingers on my left hand in this case are sliding along to put the pressure where it needs to be, just over the part of the edge that you're sharpening at that time. So I just go back and forth a few times like this. You'll notice as I get towards the tip and as it curves, I have to sort of raise, you can't see it too well in my video, but I have to raise my elbow back to sort of lift the end as you're getting here to maintain the angle. If you just come around and maintain the same flat angle, you'll actually find by closer to the tip it'll be a thinner, smaller angle, sorry. And yeah, I mean that may be what you want, but it's going to be weaker and slicier. So if you want a consistent edge all the way around, you need to lift up just slightly as you're going around the curve towards the tip. Okay, I can't feel a burr yet, but this edge was absolutely stuffed. I dragged it through an old bench stone a few times to really wreck that edge. and start from fresh. So I'm not too fussed at this point in time. That was just the first couple of passes. Now I'm going to move to my left hand. It's up to you what you want to do. If you're more comfortable holding it in your right hand and sharpening in that fashion, by all means do that. For me, I've found over time that I've adapted to this style. The other way, this is how I used to do it, but now I've just practiced moving to my left hand, and I found that it's more consistent because you're doing exactly the same action on both sides. Sorry. So you're doing exactly the same action on both sides, which for me gives a better, more consistent result. But like I said, that's entirely up to you. Everybody's got a different technique, so don't stress. Just going to put a touch more water. So the same thing, you're talking about just under a finger width at the spine there, just the same as the other side. Now this knife, whoever had it previously, because I just picked this up from the second-hand shop, I just pick up knives like this to practice sharpening on really. This knife had a bit of a recurve towards the tip, like a bit of a bird's beak or however you want to describe it. So I'm putting a bit more work up on the tip just to try and bring it back so it's one continuous smooth curve rather than the recurve that's there at the moment. So that's why you see me working that tip at the moment. It's already come down quite a bit from what it was before, so it shouldn't take too long. The Atoma works pretty damn quick for this type of work. For flattening like single bevels, it still takes quite a while, and you're better off with powered machinery then. But for just putting in a new bevel, just for a straight cutting, this is a great stone. Still no burr yet, but I reckon we'll pick it up within the next pass or two. So, still just keeping a low pressure on, just enough to sort of push your fingertips in. You don't need a lot. Don't need a lot of pressure there. Okay, starting to get a little bit of a burr. Not all the way down, just around here at the tip at the moment. I'm going to swap hands again. What I should have probably explained to you before when I was looking for the burr, all I'm doing is rubbing my fingers from the back just across on the opposite side that I was just sharpening. So in this case, I was sharpening this, so I want to feel the back. Just rolling my fingers across the edge, and you can feel just near the tip, I can feel the metal that's folded over slightly. It's not gone all the way down yet. So I'll keep working that side of 1 or 2 more passes. Again, always just starting from the heel, slowly working our way up, all the way to the tip. And then what I tend to do is a few full strokes. And I feel that that helps blend the edge the whole way along, particularly for curved blades like this. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Flipping back to my right hand. Okay, now I've got burr from the tip down to about here. So this last couple of inches still needs a bit more work, but we're getting there. Flip again, just going to add a little bit more fresh water. Have a sip of wine. Let's carry on. So yeah, we've got a big burr all the way down, still stopping about halfway. So that bottom little couple of inches needs a fair bit more work. Oh, nearly. Just a slight burr starting to come. I'm really just going to focus on this heel section now. There's no point going over and over the front. I just can move up every now and again a little bit just to blend in with what's already there. So still not pushing hard, just a few ounces of pressure. Doing my best to keep the spine at the same height, but it doesn't matter if it moves a little bit. As your bevel grinds in, the knife will eventually settle on that flat section, so you will come to a time when it just sort of sits naturally in that groove. Okay. Now we've pretty much got a very light burr all the way to the edge. I'm going to keep going back and forth just a couple more times. To me, it just feels like it brings that apex together more evenly. I don't just stop as soon as I felt the burr reach one side. I just always feel like one edge might not be the same, and so this edge could be done beautifully and this edge still needs some work, so I go back and forth, and eventually I'll do reducing numbers of steps. So I'll start with, say, 10 strokes, 10 strokes, 8 strokes, 8 strokes. So I'll grind this a few more times just until I'm happy with the burr. And I know that it's flipping completely every time I do a couple of swipes. If it's not doing that, then to me it's not ready to move on. So I'll carry on until I'm satisfied it's able to do that. Then I'll do my reducing steps just to finish it off. And they sort of work almost like stropping in a way. You're stropping on the stone by just slowly bringing that edge more and more evenly to the middle until finally it's just apexed perfectly. That's the idea, that's the plan. So I'll finish this off. Okay, I've basically got a burr all the way to the edge from one end to the other. Both sides, every time I grind up and down, the burr's completely flipping, which I'm happy with. The tip no longer has that recurve. I'm not sure how well this will show up. But yeah, it's a nice smooth transition all the way to the edge now, all the way to the tip. Yeah, I'm happy. So what I'll do now, like I said, is starting from about 10 strokes either side, then I'll just count down step by step by step, and then do a few finishing passes on 1 or 2 strokes each. Then we'll see how sharp I got it. So six, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I'll go down to 9 this time. And 9. Oops, that was 10. Down to 8. Seven. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to take it at this stage. I think that'll be a pretty decent edge for a 140 stone. Let me grab some. I've got some receipt paper here, which is pretty thin. Let's give it a cut and see how it did. So, look, it's not a perfect edge. It's quite a loud cut. I mean, a 140 edge is a 140 edge, but you know, it's clean enough to slice fairly cleanly. It's a nice consistent edge all the way along. Maybe it'll even shave hair. Let's have a look. Running out of hair to shave. Yeah, look, there was patches there that it took. It's not a clean shave by any means. There's a few hairs popping up there. Yeah, I mean, look, this I could work on for longer, but this isn't a knife that I use, so I'm not gonna, I was just doing this one as a demonstration, but you could refine that a bit more with this stone even, but you know, 9 times out of 10 you're going to take it further than this. Follow this up with a 400, a 600. I think you said you had the Atoma 600 as well. That's a great stone to follow this up with, and you can even stop there. The 600 is, personally, it's a good grit that I like finishing on for most sort of functional knives. It all depends on the type of knife and what you're going to use it for, but for kitchen and for outdoors, 600 is a pretty good finish. So you can just focus on the 2 stones. But as I sort of mentioned in previous messages, all of the work is done here. This 140, your lowest grit one, like I said, that knife is sharp now. I can stop. So the work is done. Everything after this is refining that edge, making it a smoother cut, adding more polish, that sort of thing, depending on how far you want to take it. But focus on the 1 stone for now. You should, with a bit of practice, you should be able to get this slicing paper pretty easily. Like I said, you're not looking for the smoothest, most perfect cut, but if you can get this first stone cutting paper pretty consistently, then everything after that you should be able to work with pretty well. Get that the fundamentals down with that first stone, and you'll lock in your angle. You'll feel comfortable with that. These days, for the tactical knife, like you said, the fixed blade, my current fixed blade has a really nice edge on it at the moment, so I didn't want to grind that away and resharpen it. So I'm just going to do this one knife. But the technique is exactly the same, Bob. The only difference is maybe raise the angle a fraction. Like I said, the difference between a kitchen and a hunting knife is really only going to be the difference between about 1/4 of the blade height to 1/3 when it's lying down. So that gap there should be somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3. So it's not a big change, and you'll just naturally find it. Different knives feel good at different angles. So yeah, just practice a bit more. You'll start to feel it after a little while, especially if you're always doing the same couple of knives for the most part. Yeah, you'll settle into a groove and you'll do fine. So I hope that was able to help you somewhat. I'm sorry this isn't a better video. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done something like this. And yeah, I'm just working. I have no real equipment or no experience doing this. This is just what I've practiced over the last few years, and I'm getting pretty good at it now. And I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. So I hope I can help you steer clear of some of them. But yeah, if you're on a great path, the Atoma 140 is brilliant as a starter stone to get that first bevel locked in. Yeah, and it's the one that you should focus on the most. All right. Well, good day, Bob. I hope this reaches you well, and I hope it's able to help you out somewhat. Let me know if you need any further help, mate. Thanks. Bye.